What if everything you believe about reality is just a reflection of what your mind projects? What if there was a way to consciously shape your life using just 5 minutes a day? It may sound absurd, but that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. There is a simple and accessible method that can change the way you perceive the world, and more than that, the way the world responds to you. And believe it or not, this isn't magic, it's science. This technique was developed by a man who vanished without a trace, taking with him secrets that could have changed everything. His name, Jacobo Grinberg. Grinberg was not an ordinary scientist. He dedicated his life to studying the human mind and its relationship with reality. To him, perception was not just a brain interpretation, but an active construction, something we can directly influence. His research on the syntropic network, an invisible field that connects all living beings, suggested that our thoughts and intentions not only affect our lives, but also shape the very fabric of reality. But before he could reveal all his discoveries, he mysteriously disappeared in 1994. Kidnapped, censored, did he choose to hide? No one knows for sure. But one thing is certain. His technique lives on and can transform the way you think. Today, you will learn how to use this tool to direct your mind and attract what you desire in life. Whether you're seeking more money, a better relationship, or simply greater peace of mind, the key lies in how you program your own perception. And the best part? You only need 5 minutes a day to put it into practice. But before we reveal the details, one question. Are you truly ready to face the power of your mind? If your answer is yes, keep reading, because we are about to enter a realm that few dare to explore. The secret behind the technique. The human mind has never been just an information processor. Since ancient times, spiritual traditions and even some branches of science have suggested that there is something more. Jacobo Grinberg delved into this concept and found evidence that the reality we perceive is not fixed, but malleable, and most importantly, influenced by our consciousness. If this is true, it means that every thought directed with intention can modify what we experience in the real world. But how does this happen? The answer lies in what he called the syntropic network, an invisible field of information that connects all living beings. Imagine that reality functions like a hologram, and that our mind is the projector. Everything we perceive as real is nothing more than the way our brains organize this information. If we can reprogram how we access this network, we can alter what we experience. And Grinberg believed this was not just a theory, but something that could be trained. This is the essence of the 5-minute technique. It is a simple yet powerful exercise capable of altering mental patterns and fine-tuning the connection between the mind and reality. Over time, this practice can change the way we interpret situations and consequently, the way the world responds to us. Some people report small synchronicities in their daily lives, while others experience deeper changes, such as new opportunities appearing out of nowhere. And it all begins with a simple step, which we will explore in the next section. How the 5-minute technique works. The beauty of this method lies in its simplicity. It doesn't require years of practice, endless readings, or spiritual retreats. All you need is 5 minutes a day and a commitment to yourself. This small time frame can be enough to reconfigure mental patterns and create a new connection between your thoughts and the reality around you. But for it to work, there is one fundamental condition: clarity of intention. The process can be divided into 4 steps. First, it is essential to find a quiet environment where you can disconnect from distractions. Closing your eyes and focusing on your breathing is a good starting point. The mind needs to be present, free from the weight of daily worries. The second step is to define a clear and specific intention. This means not just thinking about what you want, but feeling as if it is already real. If someone seeks more prosperity, for example, they should visualize concrete details, a positive bank balance, new opportunities arising, the feeling of financial security. The third step is the moment of emotional immersion. Here, thinking is not enough. It is necessary to feel. The body must react as if the experience is already happening. This makes the mind register this possibility as something real. The final phase is projecting the intention into the universe, sending this thought into the network of possibilities. It's like releasing a request without attachment, with the certainty that the answer will come at the right time. And then, just practice daily. 5 minutes may seem short, but this brief interval can alter how the mind organizes reality. And that's when the changes begin. Tuning the mental frequency. The mind works like an antenna. It constantly receives and transmits signals, even when we are unaware of it. The problem is that most of the time these signals are misaligned, filled with uncertainty, fear, and confusion. This creates interference, making it harder to connect with what we truly want. Jacobo Grinberg's technique is based precisely on adjusting this frequency. When the mind is focused and coherent, the mental frequency stabilizes, allowing desires and intentions to flow without noise. Think of a radio trying to tune into a specific station. If the signal is weak and full of static, you won't hear the message clearly. But when the frequency is well adjusted, everything becomes sharp. The same happens with the mind. People who are constantly immersed in worries and doubts send contradictory signals to the universe. On the other hand, those who focus their attention on a specific desire with clarity and emotion emit a clear frequency, increasing the chances of receiving compatible responses. The practical application of this is simple. Whenever a thought of doubt or scarcity arises, it must be replaced with a thought of certainty and abundance. This doesn't mean ignoring challenges, but training the mind to work in favor of what is desired. If someone wants to improve their financial life, for example, they should avoid thoughts like, "I never have enough money," and replace them with affirmations like, "Opportunities for prosperity are always within my reach." Adjusting this mental frequency is the key to transforming repetitive patterns and creating an energetic field favorable for real changes. The role of gratitude in the process. There is a crucial detail that separates those who merely wish for something from those who actually see changes. Anticipatory gratitude. When someone desires something but continues to vibrate in lack, the mind registers this scarcity as a pattern and perpetuates the current reality. On the other hand, when one feels grateful as if they have already received what they desire, the mental frequency aligns with abundance, making manifestation easier. Jacobo Grinberg saw this practice as a powerful mechanism for adjusting consciousness to reality. Here's how it works. Every time someone completes the 5-minute practice, it is essential to act as if the desire has already been fulfilled. If the intention is a new job, for example, instead of continuing to worry, the person should feel gratitude as if they were already in the desired position. This doesn't mean pretending or deceiving oneself, but rather creating an emotional state that convinces the mind that the path is already set. The stronger this feeling, the greater the impact on how reality organizes itself. This can be applied in daily life in simple ways. Upon waking up, instead of complaining about what is missing, a person can mentally express gratitude for everything they already have and for what is yet to come. Small acts of gratitude change how the brain reacts to circumstances. And this constant practice strengthens the habit of focusing on the positive, creating a resonance effect with opportunities, solutions, and unexpected encounters. In the end, it's not reality that changes on its own. It's the way the mind positions itself in relation to it. The science behind the method. Although Jacobo Grinberg's technique may seem purely spiritual, scientific evidence suggests that the human mind does, in fact, have a direct impact on reality. The central concept supporting this idea is neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to reorganize itself and create new neural connections based on thought and behavior patterns. In other words, when the mind repeatedly focuses on something, the brain adjusts its networks to transform that thought into a real tendency. Moreover, studies have shown that human intention can influence external phenomena. The Institute of Noetic Sciences, for example, has conducted experiments where groups of people focused their thoughts on a specific objective, and the results showed statistically significant changes. Another important name in this field is Rupert Sheldrake, who proposed the morphic field theory, a concept similar to Grinberg's, suggesting that an informational field connects everything and that our intentions can imprint on this field, influencing future events. In practice, this means that our way of thinking not only affects our behavior and decisions, but can also alter the circumstances around us. If scientists have already found evidence that consciousness can have a measurable effect on the physical world, then it makes sense to assume that consciously directing thoughts and emotions can indeed transform life experiences. This is the foundation of the 5-minute technique, a mental reprogramming method that aligns emotions, intentions, and perception to create real change. Stories of transformation. Theories and concepts are important, but nothing surpasses real-life experiences. Many people who have applied Jacobo Grinberg's technique report unexpected changes in their lives, ranging from health improvements to financial and emotional breakthroughs. What do all these stories have in common? A daily commitment to the practice and the willingness to change how they perceive their own reality. And the most interesting part, these transformations don't appear overnight like a sudden miracle, but rather unfold as a continuous process of tuning in to new possibilities. One example is the case of a businessman who was on the verge of bankruptcy and began applying the 5-minute technique, focusing on opportunities and solutions instead of problems. Within weeks, new connections emerged, unexpected proposals appeared, and his company managed to recover from financial distress. What changed? The way he perceived the situation. Instead of concentrating on lack, he started directing his attention toward possible paths, allowing him to see alternatives that had previously seemed invisible. Another common case involves people looking to improve their relationships. Instead of just waiting for others to change, they begin to focus on feelings of harmony, respect, and connection. Over time, they notice that conflicts decrease, interactions become lighter, and even distant people start to reconnect. This happens because the brain, upon reconfiguring its perception pattern, begins to respond differently to situations, generating reactions and behaviors that directly influence interpersonal dynamics. The greatest lesson from these stories: change begins from within. An invitation to the viewer to try it. Hearing about a method is interesting, but real transformation happens when it is put into practice. And the good news is that this technique does not require drastic changes or exhaustive dedication. 5 minutes a day are enough to start noticing differences in how the mind behaves and how reality responds. But for this to work, there is one challenge: consistency. It's not enough to try it for a day and then forget about it. Like any habit, this practice requires repetition so that the brain registers and solidifies the new pattern. So here's the invitation: try it for 7 consecutive days. Choose a clear objective, something that truly matters to you. It could be financial security, better relationships, or simply a calmer mental state. For 5 minutes each day, follow the steps we've outlined. Find a quiet space. Define your Intention with clarity. Feel as if it is already real, and finally, project that energy into the universe. The key is not just to think, but to feel as if the change has already happened. And to reinforce this commitment even further, write down your perceptions. At the end of the week, review what has changed. Small signs may appear, new ideas may emerge, and previously complicated situations may start to unfold in unexpected ways. If this happens, it means your mind has already begun adjusting to this new frequency. So here's the question: are you willing to try? If yes, your first step begins now. If you've made it this far, you've already taken an important step, expanding your perception of the mind's power. But knowledge without action doesn't create transformation. What separates those who merely listen from those who truly change their lives is the willingness to apply what they've learned. So now comes the most important part, putting this technique into practice and observing the results. This doesn't mean that grand changes will happen overnight, but committing to just 5 minutes a day could be the start of a major breakthrough. And to strengthen this journey, I want you to do something right now. Leave a comment sharing which intention you will focus on for the next 7 days. You don't need to go into details, but writing it down is already a first step in reinforcing your decision within yourself. Also, if this content made sense to you, share it with someone who also needs this information. After all, the more people become aware of their mind's power, the more positive changes can happen around us. Finally, if you want to dive even deeper into this topic, there is another video that complements this technique with a practical approach that can accelerate your results. The link is in the description or the comments. Now, the choice is in your hands. Do you want to be just a spectator in your own life, or someone who takes control of what happens? If your answer is the second option, your commitment starts today. The power of choice and personal transformation. In the end, it all comes down to one question: what do you choose to believe? If the mind truly shapes reality, then every thought, every intention, and every emotion are fundamental pieces in the construction of your life. Some people believe that their circumstances are entirely beyond their control, while others understand that they have the power to rewrite their story. Jacobo Grinberg dedicated his life to proving that the mind is not just a reflection of the world, but an active tool for creation. And the truth is, this choice happens every single day. When someone wakes up and decides to focus on problems, they reinforce a mental pattern that keeps their life exactly the same. On the other hand, when a person directs their attention to solutions, gratitude, and new possibilities, they start activating a field of opportunities that was previously invisible. The 5-minute technique is not a trick or an esoteric ritual. It's a perception exercise that trains the mind to see beyond the obvious. And once this skill is developed, changes start to occur naturally. So the final question is, what will you do with this information? You can close this video and continue living as you always have, or you can apply this technique and see what happens. The choice is yours. But remember, the universe responds to those who make a clear decision and act accordingly. The first step has already been taken. Now, it's all up to you.